Welcome back to the cross night. Yeah, so guys, let us continue from where we left off, right? Now we are doing geometric series. You need to remember, guys, that the general term or the general rule for a geometric series is given by Tn is equals to a times r to the power of n minus 1. So this is the general rule for finding a term in a geometric sequence. Do you guys still remember this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's just say, for example, I've got the following. Let me just say I've got 2, I've got 4, I've got 8, I've got 16, and then my terms continue indefinitely. This is a geometric series, a sequence njalo. How do we recognize that this is a geometric sequence? Because we observe a common ratio. You still guys remember how to get the common ratio, right?
Yes, sir.
How do we get the common ratio?
It's the next term divided by the previous term.
Yes, so the common ratio can be found by saying the next term divided by the previous term. For example, term 2 over term 1, term 3 over term 2, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you guys should get used to writing things with a n. Is it fine if I say that it is Tn plus 1 over Tn? Is it fine? Okay, if I say Tn over Tn, yeah, let's just say, is it fine if I say Tn plus 1 over Tn? To those who have been, yes, it is fine. To those who have been with me throughout the cross night, you guys should get used to writing things in this notation, especially those people who are going to do computer science or information technology or anything that has to do with logic, even mathematics. If you're gonna do mathematics in university, please guys, try to get used to writing things in variables. Okay, so it's fine, but don't worry, I won't explain what's happening here because it's not relevant for this particular session. Okay, so guys, when we're given such a sequence, you guys now know how to find the general term. For example, let's just find the general term for this one. If we find the ratio here, we are going to say term 2 over term 1. In this case, our term number 2 is 4. This is the second term, right? And then over the first term, which is 2. So 4 over 2 will definitely give us a 2. So that's the ratio that we get here. Even if we say 8 over 4, we are supposed to get 2 as well. Even if you say term 3, this term 3, which is 8, divided by term 2, which is 4, you are still supposed to get the same ratio for it to be a geometric sequence. Okay, so now for us to be able to find our general term, it's way simpler. Once you have the ratio and you have the first term, you just say now your general term is equals to what? It is equals to the first term, which is equals to 2, times the constant ratio, which is equals to 2 to the power of n minus 1. And you guys need to remember that this is not distributive. You are not allowed to say 2 times 2. This is prohibited. So I'm just reminding you guys the basics of a geometric sequence. You guys did with Mr. Mkono, right? Did you guys do it? Yes, you did this with Mr. Mkono. So awesome. So now what if I say I want you guys to find me the sum of the 4 terms, the sum of the first 4 terms in this geometric sequence. So in this geometric sequence, we've got 4 terms in total. You guys can recognize them. We've got term 1, which is 2, term 2, which is 4, term 3, which is 8, and term 4, which is 16. Okay, so now we're having 4 terms in total in this sequence that I provided. There is no other term after 16. Let's just assume that. Okay, so the sum of the 4 terms, we can just add them manually at first and just say, to find the total, I'm just going to add 2 and 4 and 8 as well as 16. This is now a geometric series. We don't call it a sequence anymore. Once we separate the terms with the plus signs, this is now a what? A geometric series. Simply means that we are adding these numbers, or we are adding these term values one by one. So it's 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus 16. And if you guys compute that, that is going to be 2 plus 4, which is 6 plus 8, which is 14 plus 16, which is going to give you 80, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so this is giving you what? This is giving you 80. Is it correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so this is our sum of the 4 terms in a geometric series. Now, you will be required to represent this using a what? Using a sigma notation later. But first of all, you guys need to remember that you cannot keep on adding these terms one by one, guys. There are better ways of doing it by using a formula, of course. Let's just say now in this same sequence, let's just say my sequence continues from 16. It continues until it reaches another very bigger term. Can you keep on adding like 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus 16 until the last term? That's going to be like a lot of work. So since that's going to be a lot of work, so what is to be done there? Basically, we use a formula that can actually add up all of these all together. So for our geometric series, when we are adding up numbers of normal term values of a geometric sequence, when we are adding them up, basically we say that the sum of n terms, it is equals to a into r to the power of n minus 1 over r minus 1. Or we have got an alternate form, which is Sn, which is equals to a into 1 minus r to the power of n over 1 minus r. Okay, so we're having two alternate formulas that we use to find the sum of term values in a geometric sequence, which will become a series when we are adding them up, of course. So for example, on this one, if I want to find the sum of the first 4 terms without adding 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus 16 manually, I can just come and say that the sum of 4 terms here will be given by, so instead of adding 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus 16, I'm just going to substitute into this formula for Sn. Okay, so when I'm looking for the sum of 4 terms, meaning that my n is equals to 4, so it means that my subscript there, I'm going to write 4 to say that whenever I see n in this formula, whenever I see n, the position, I will substitute 4. Okay, so now for that to happen, I have to first substitute a. The value of a, you guys know that is the first term of the pattern. In this case, it is 2. So I can just say the first term of the pattern here is 2 into, and then the r there, remember guys, it represents the what? The constant ratio. This r here, it is the constant ratio for the pattern. And the constant ratio for this one, guys, we already found out that this is going to be what? This is 2, right? To the power of this n here, guys. Remember guys that it is the number of terms that we are adding. In this case, we are adding 4 terms, so this is to the power of 4, and then this is minus 1, then over where there is r, we still put 2, then minus 1. So you guys will take your calculator, literally take your calculator, punch in these numbers and give me the output of the sum.
I think so, it is 31.
Did you substitute into the formula straight up?
Yes, sir.
Why are you getting 31?
Oh, 30, sir.
It's 30. How you cannot get 31, Pele? This is a formula that has been proven. So do you guys see that here? We can get 30 by just summing up these 4 terms, or by summing these terms up to 4 terms, we get 30, or we can just use the sum formula. You can also use the alternate one, this one. You can also use the alternate one, but this one most of the times will explain its most applications. Okay, so basically the formula makes it easier for us to be able to do what? For us to be able to it makes it easier for us to be able to to add up a lot of terms without really knowing without really like manually calculating one by one. Yes, Oliver?
So are we not going to do the proof of the series?
Do you want to do the proof, guys? Go ahead and prove it. Prove that.
Yes.
Do you guys know how to prove it?
No, sir.
How? Why? Okay, it's fine. Let's see. So prove that the sum of a geometric series is given by a into Rn minus 1 over R minus 1. So we'll prove this one, guys. Okay. You guys already know the terms in a geometric series, how in a geometric sequence, how they work, right? To say that when we've got term 1 is equals to what? In a geometric sequence, it is A, right? And then what about term 2? How do we get term 2 general if we've got a constant ratio n?
We multiply by the ratio.
By the ratio is AR. And then how do we get the third term?
Is it AR cubed?
How?
ARN. Huh?
Squared.
ARN.
Squared, sir.
AR squared, guys. How? Guys, isn't this obvious, man? You guys already did a proof that are similar to this one. So at some point, you know it's AR squared, and then you continue doing this until you reach the terms. Let's just say, let's reach until term Tn. Tn is given by AR to the power of n minus 1. Yeah, Tn is given by AR to the power of n minus 1. So now here we are going to create two equations for us to be able to solve this. So we're going to create two equations. So the first one will be Sn, and then the first one will be Rsn. Okay, so we're going to create two equations. We're going to have Sn as well as Rsn. But now, how do we do that? Let's create our first equation, which will be equation 1. Okay, so for us to find Sn simply means it's the sum of the terms in a geometric series in this context. Okay, just like we did at first year, guys. For us to find the sum of 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus 16, we added the terms, like literally added the terms. So for us to find the sum of the 4 terms, what did we do? We added term 1 plus term 2 plus term 3 plus term 4. So we added each and every value of the term. Okay, so each and every value of the term, we added them, and the total gave us the sum of 4 terms. So here in this case, guys, we are generalizing, or we are proving the formula. So basically, you don't really have a certain number of n. You don't really know, Uzi, how many terms do you have in total, or how many terms are you adding. Here in the previous one, we were adding 4 terms. That is why our n was equals to 4. And the last term was equals to 4. But now on this one, we do not know. So we already know that our number of terms is n. It's a general way, guys. It can be any number of terms. They can be 100, they can be 10, or whatever when you need to apply them. But here it's more like we are trying to derive the formula that can work for each and every geometric series. Let's write our Sn, guys, quickly. We're going to start with term 1 is A. So our term 1 is A. Term 2 is what? Is AR. I'm sure we're adding the terms, guys. Don't forget, this is sum of 4 terms is term 1 plus term 2 plus term 3 plus term 4. You add them like individual. So term 1 is A. We add it to term 2, which is AR. We add it to term 3, which is AR squared. We continue adding them until we reach the last term, which will say it's AR to the power n minus 1, the one that we definitely don't know. Although we might not know the last term, but we know that whatever position it has, we will need to substitute it here in place of n, and it will be n minus 1. Okay, and then now we're going to create another equation which I will call r times Sn. So this is r times Sn. So it means on this first equation I'm just going to multiply with the constant ratio. Okay, so I'm multiplying the entire equation from this first step or from this first equation by the constant ratio to form my equation 2. So here this means that, guys, I'm sure you understand what does it mean when I say r times Sn. Yes, so this is the constant ratio multiplied by the sum Sn, and the Sn formula or the Sn expression I already wrote it in step 1. So I'm just going to multiply through each and every term here. I'm going to multiply it by what? By r. So a multiplied by r will give me ar. Let me just make sure that the spacing here, let's just make it a bit closer, constricted. So this is ar plus, if I multiply this ar by r, what am I gonna get?
AR squared.
I'm going to get AR squared. If I multiply this AR squared plus by R, what am I going to get?
AR cubed.
AR cubed. And then you keep on doing this and doing this and doing this. And then if I multiply this AR to the power of n minus 1 by R, what am I going to get?
AR squared n minus 1.
AR squared n minus 1. How am I going to write that down, Sam? Let's see.
Bracket.
Okay, open bracket.
R. You say 2 open bracket n minus 1.
2 open bracket n minus 1. Is it allowed, guys? Is it allowed, guys, to do this?
No, sir, because now the square will also be affecting the 1.
Yes, guys, laws of exponents. Laws of exponents, guys. When you are multiplying things of the same base, what happens? R times R will give us what? It's a r squared, right? R times R is r squared. Now we are having R times AR to the power of n minus 1. Okay, let's just say A is not affecting anything here. When we are multiplying these guys, what do we do to the exponents? Just focus on the 2 r's. Don't mind, we add the exponents, guys. Don't mind the a here. The a doesn't affect anything because it is a different base. Okay, so this is r to the power 1. This is r to the power n minus 1. So whenever you are multiplying powers of the same base, you add the exponents. The exponents that we have here is positive 1. The other one here on the other r is n minus 1. So when you add n minus 1 plus 1, what you get n. So basically this is going to give you a r to the power of n. Yes, this is your equation 2. Please, guys, be careful with the laws of exponents. They are very they actually kind of contribute quite a lot into this whole thing. So is it clear, guys, in this way? So this is the second equation. Now for you to be able to now reach the final step, you need to subtract the equations. So you subtract the equations. So you can subtract equation 2 from equation 1, or you can subtract equation 1 from equation 2. Still the same thing. That is why that's why we have got 2 forms of writing this. We can also write this as Sn is equals to a into 1 minus r to the power of n over 1 minus r. I'm sure, guys, will say that the series formula for a geometric series, it has got 2 forms. You can either use this first form or you can use this other form. All of them, they can work the same way. It's just an algebraic trick. Okay, so you can subtract equation 2 from equation 1, or you can subtract equation 1 from equation 2. All of it is acceptable. Here, if I say equation 2 minus equation 1, it means that here on the left hand side, I'm going to say Sn minus Rsn, because I'm subtracting equation 2 from equation 1, not the other way around, guys. Subtracting equation 2 from equation 1. So here my equation 2 is the left hand side of it is r times Sn. My equation 1, the left hand side is Sn. So I'm going to say that this is going to be Sn minus R times Sn is equals to. And then on the other side, or on the other side of the equal sign, if I subtract, guys, I'm going to say the value, actually I'm saying Sn, guys, I'm saying the equation Sn, the first equation, minus Rsn. So I'm going to say the value that I found, the first term on Sn, right? This is the first term on Sn. Minus what? Minus the first term on R times Sn. Do you guys kind of get the sense of what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now the issue here, guys, is that we don't have this A, it is not having a matching term. Do you guys kind of notice that this is not having a matching term on the other side?
Yes.
It's not, yeah, it's kind of, it's alone. It's not having a matching term, because if we subtract the other terms here, let's just say if we subtract this second term, which is A times R minus A times R, it will give us 0 definitely. AR squared minus AR squared, it will definitely give us 0, and so forth and so on. Even on this one, if we say whatever term that we'll find after this one, it will be AR cubed definitely, minus AR cubed, it will give us 0. So all of the other terms, they can cancel each other out. But this A, it can never, like even if you say A minus A times R, you can never be able to cancel them out. But if you look at these other terms, when you look at these other terms, which is the AR from the Sn equation, the first equation, minus this AR will give us 0, because we are saying that Sn minus Rsn means that the values of this first equation minus these values of the second equation. Do you guys see that?
Yes, sir.
So this is AR minus AR. These ones, they will definitely give you 0 no matter what. Even these ones, AR squared minus this AR squared, they will give you 0. If you were to continue here, guys, the AR cubed, actually you were going to have AR cubed. That was going to be your term, your term 4. This AR cubed minus AR cubed will still cancel each other in the same pattern until the last term. But what will definitely not cancel is this A. This A, it doesn't have anything to subtract from equation 2. It doesn't have a like term to subtract. Because even if you force, guys, to say A minus AR, these are not like terms. You can only factorize them. You cannot really be able to get one single expression. So here it means that each and every other term, they will cancel each other except for A, as well as what? As well as minus A times R to the power of N. Okay, let's explain this A to the power of Rn so that you guys understand why is it there. Remember, guys, that here in the first equation, right? In the first equation, this A times R to the power of N minus 1, okay? It can cancel with the previous term here. It can cancel with the previous term here. Definitely can cancel. If you try to calculate, what is Tn minus 1, the term that is just before the last term, it will definitely be AR to the power of N minus 1. But so to minimize the complexity of the problem, okay, or to make things a bit simpler for you guys and not complicate things, we don't really show here we do have a term again. But here, if you were to write the second before last term, it will be AR to the power of N minus 1. And when you subtract these equations, this AR to the power N minus 1 on equation 1 minus this AR to the power N minus 1 on equation 2 will give you 0. So they would eventually cancel out, but we don't really have to show it. We don't really have to show it for this one, because we want to simply make the proof simpler for you guys. Okay, but if you guys are interested, you can show each and every step. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So it means that here on the Sn equation, here there is no term that is matching with this a r to the power of n. There is no like term, because here the last term, the last term on the what? The last term on the first equation, or the last term of a geometric sequence, it is a times r to the power n minus 1. The general term, that is the last term. So we don't have any other term after it. So here, this one, it is not going to be cancelled by anything. So it's the same thing as saying 0 on the Sn, the first equation, minus this a r to the power of n. That's why here we're having a r to the power of n that is negative. Do you guys kind of get it?
Wait, say the minus an, like minus leg come up is.
Okay, and you were saying equation 1 minus equation 2, right? Okay, let's just make two equations. For example, equation A, which will have 2x, just do simple algebra, 2x minus 3. And let's have equation B, which would have maybe a positive 5. Okay, let's just say positive 1. Okay, the equation B, I'm just going to say is positive 1. According to what you learned in grade 10, what is a minus b? If I want to calculate a minus b, what do? I subtract like terms. I subtract terms that look alike. Do you guys kind of see that? Let me just rearrange my problem for a bit. Let's just say here I've got 1 plus 2x on equation B. Then on equation A, I just have got 5. Just a is equals to 5. That's my first equation. B is equals to 1 plus 2x. So if I say a minus b, I'm trying to say what I mean. I'm going to subtract like terms. In which order? I'm going to start with the term from a minus the term of b. So the term of a here, let's look for the term of a. In this case, a, the first term here, it is just a constant. It is 5. Do you guys see that?
Yes, sir.
So this will be 5 minus 1. So this will be 5 minus 1. Both of these are constants, or both of these are numbers. You guys know what constants are from grade 10. So this is 5. Again, I repeat, 5 minus 1 will give us 4. What about this 2x on equation B? We cannot, like, equation A, do you see that, guys? Equation A doesn't have anything that has got x in it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so it's the same thing as saying that equation A has got 0x actually, but it's not shown because it's not there. So if I am saying A minus B, it's the same thing as saying 0x minus 2x, because these are like terms, and 0 minus 2 will give you what? Minus 2x. Do you guys kind of know how to now subtract two equations?
Yes, sure.
Similarly here, we are subtracting equation 2 from equation 1. So this is like equation 1 minus equation 2. Because, guys, understand the English here. Subtract equation 2 from equation 1. So this is like equation 1 minus equation 2. Understand the English very carefully. The first term on equation 1, it was a. Okay, is there any like term for a in this equation 2? Do we have any like term that is a? No. So it's like you are saying a minus 0, because we don't have anything that has got the variable a alone in equation 2. So this is like a minus 0 here, because we don't have any other term that looks like a. So it's a minus 0, which will give us positive a. Then we say these other terms, they will cancel each other, because if I say this AR and then I subtract this AR from it, will give me 0. This AR squared, I subtract this AR squared, it will give me 0. So even if I continue to expand my terms, this AR cubed and this AR cubed, they will eventually give me 0. So essentially, all these other terms will give me 0. Right? And I also say here, this last term here, which is AR to the power n minus 1, the last term on the first equation, this one, the last term of a geometric sequence, is AR to the power n minus 1. It will also cancel with this term, which is the second last term that you find here. It will also, the second last term, I'm telling you, it will be AR to the power n minus 1. You guys can figure out why that is that, but that is that indeed. You guys know, and you should say, why is it AR to the power n minus 1, the second before last term?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we did that, guys, when we did the proof for arithmetic sequence. So similarly here, it's the same thing. So this AR minus 1, this AR minus 1 from equation 1, it will subtract this one as well, and they will cancel each other again. All right. So this will leave us with only this AR to the power n. It doesn't have anything to cancel with from equation 1. So that's why we usually say that there is 0 on equation 1, because there is no like term. So if we are saying equation 1 minus equation 2, it's like we are saying zero things on equation 1 that look like this one. 0 minus a times r to the power n, which will give us negative a to the power rn. The other terms will cancel each other. Do you guys see where the proof is going?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Makes sense, right? Yeah, you guys should get used to more algebra and more logical reasoning, because for people who wanna go into the STEM curriculum after university, you will need this. You will need a lot of a lot of knowledge on logical reasoning, algebra. Practice your maths each and every day. Don't sleep without doing isibalo maths. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, on the left hand side, guys, on this left hand side, we can just factorize, we can say a common factor, right? So we can take out a common factor Sn, and we remain with 1 minus r. Yeah, and then on the other side, we can factor out a, because that's the common factor. We remain with 1 minus r to the power n. And for us to find a Sn, eventually we have to divide by this 1 minus r term, so that we can find what? So that we can find our Sn. So if I divide by 1 minus r, I can say that my Sn there will be given by a into 1 minus r to the power n over 1 minus r.
1.
Do you guys see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so can you guys convert this into the other form of the equation? The one that will be like r to the power n minus 1, this one. Can you guys turn it to be that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it's simple. You just factor out negative 1 there if you want to write it in another form, but you're already done with the proof essentially. If you factor out negative 1, this will be a times negative 1 into rn minus 1 over, and you do the same thing in the denominator. You factor out negative 1. This will be negative 1 into r minus 1. And then this negative 1 and this negative 1 will just fall off in such a way that Sn is given by a into r to the power n minus 1 over r to the power over r minus 1. So there are two ways of writing this sum formula. You can either use this one or this one, and this is the proof. Do you guys understand the proof?
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Okay, yes, we are going to the break, guys, for 10 minutes again. When we come back, you can ask your question, then we'll proceed and do practice problems. Hey Lapo, I know that you've been enjoying this wonderful video, and most likely you've been enjoying watching this handsome face in front of you, but sorry ladies, I'm taken. I just here to tell you that Educate is on the road to 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. So please click the subscribe button and click the notification bell so that you get notifications whenever I post new videos. I want you guys to pass. Okay, so if you make my dream true, I reach 100k subscribers, I will make your dreams come true. I will even get you to varsity. I will get you with 7 distinctions. Yes. Yeah, so before you get there, guys, you need to learn of the sum to infinity. First of all, we'll see what is the sum to infinity, what is a convergent geometric series, and whatnot. Okay, so let me just say for example, guys, I've got a 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus whatever number that follows here until indefinitely. If I keep adding these numbers, guys, what happens to the sum? Let's just say I keep on adding these numbers, like 2 plus 4, that's 6, right? And then 6 plus 8, that's 14. If I keep on adding again and again and again, and I say 8 plus 16, that 14 plus 16, that's gonna be 30. And then I'm going to say that 30 plus 32, that's going to be like 50, what is it, 30 plus 32, 62. So do you guys see what is happening to the sum actually as I keep on adding the numbers?
We are doubling it.
Okay, not the ratio. My question is, what is happening to the sum of the numbers, the total of the numbers as I add them? Watch this carefully, guys, before you answer. The sum of the first two terms will be 2 plus 4, which will give me what? 6. That's the sum of the first two terms. And if I keep on adding these terms again, let me add another term, and I say the sum of the first three terms, I would have to say 6 plus 8, it will give me 14. If I add the sum of the first 4 terms, and that will give me what? That will give me 30. If I add the sum of the first 5 terms, including the 32, that will give me what? That will give me 62. So my question is, what is happening to the value of the sum as I keep on adding more and more terms in this geometric series?
Increases.
Yes, it's increasing. Just like I just want a simple observation, guys. Nothing complicated. Just a simple observation. The simple observation is here that the sum here increases indefinitely, or the sum is cumulative. Okay. I'm just using our modern English, the one that we use these days. We don't use the term increase. It's cumulative. The sum keeps on increasing. Okay, it kind of keeps on accumulating in a sense. Okay, so the sum is increasing. Let me just use your normal English because you are still grade 12 learners. Okay, the sum is increasing and increasing. So basically, when the sum keeps on increasing and increasing in a certain series, we say that that series is divergent, or it diverges. So the term diverges, it simply means that as you add more terms and more terms and more terms, the sum keeps on increasing. For example, when we added only 2 terms, we had a sum of 6. When we added 3 terms, we had a sum of 14. When we increased to 4 terms, the sum is 30. So it keeps on increasing and increasing. So we say that's a divergent series. In this particular case, you can see that your series is geometric. So this is your divergent geometric series. Okay, divergent geometric series. So it will keep on increasing, guys, in such a way that even if you keep on adding the numbers until infinity, they will keep on increasing. You will never have a certain value for the sum of this series. Okay, you can only have a certain value if you add a certain number of terms. For example, if you add only 2 terms, you're gonna have 6. If you add only 3 terms, you're gonna have 14. If you add the first 4 terms, you are going to get 8. So do you guys see that here we cannot have one sum, like the sum actually keeps on increasing the more we increase the number of terms that we're adding. Do you guys notice that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's a divergent geometric series. So this is an example of a divergent geometric series. There's nothing you can do about it because it keeps on increasing. So it's something indefinite. We say that the sum is indefinite. The sum is cumulative in such a way that it keeps on increasing and increasing indefinitely. Okay, but there are some geometric series that are divergent, meaning that it doesn't keep on increasing per se. Okay, let's say for example I've got 1 over 2 plus 1 over 4 plus 1 over 16 plus 1 over 32. Okay, let's just see if this is matching up. Okay, yeah, 1 over 32 plus until an undefined number of terms. Okay, let's do this, guys. Let's do the sum of the first two terms. Add the first two terms, guys, for me. The first two terms of this series. Add 1/2 and 1/4. What do we get? 1/2 plus 1/4, guys. A simple thing. 1/2 plus 1/4.
Would it be 3/4?
Yes, it's 3/4, which is the same thing as approximately 0.75. Okay. Add the sum of three terms. So now on that on that 3/4, add 1/16. Just like add in your calculator, you can just put 1/2 plus 1/4 plus 1/16. Now you are adding another extra term, which is 1/16.
13/16.
13/16, right? So this 13/16 in decimal format is approximately how much?
0.8125.
0.8125. Okay, let's do the sum of the first four terms. Add the four terms that are consecutive from 1, 2, 3, 4. What do you get?
27/32.
27/32 in a decimal format.
0.84375.
4375. Okay, it's fine. I just want us to do this manually for now. Add the five terms. I've put 1/64 there. Add the sum of five terms. Don't use a formula. I want you guys to do this manually. Add the five terms. Just on the previous, just add 1/64, guys. Like you guys now see this, right? We've been doing this for the entire night.
587 over 704.
Okay, what is it in decimal?
0.8338.
Really? 27/32 plus 1/64. You're adding the wrong thing now, Sam. You are adding all of these terms, but I made things simpler for you because you already had the sum of these terms, and you're adding just 1/64 on top of it. What are you getting?
No, sir, you don't get 0 point.
Okay, the fraction. What is the fraction?
I'm getting 155/64.
Okay, ish. What is this thing doing? Wait. Let me just go back. Okay, 155 over what?
64.
Over 64. What is the decimal part?
2,42.
Sam, you're adding the wrong thing now again. Please add again. Please retry before I use my own calculator. Guys, who else is having a calculator? Add the first five terms here. 1/2 plus 1/4 plus 1/16 plus 1/32 plus 1/64. It shouldn't exceed 1. Can never be 2 point something, no matter what. Please, guys, I know that you are sleepy, but take your calculators and add.
Yeah, I found it. So it's 55/64.
55/64, which is what in decimal?
0.859375.
9375. Okay, so don't continue adding because it's gonna be a lot of work. We could have just used the formula, but one thing that I want to emphasize here, it is this: if you keep on adding these terms, maybe you will find out that the sum of the first let's just say the sum of the first 33 terms it's not really the accurate value, but you will find it will be like something like 0.9979 what, and then when you do the sum of, if you keep on continuing and you do the sum of 34 terms, you will find it around 0.999 maybe 992. And when you do the sum of 35 terms, you will find it at 0.999999999, and then maybe you find a 1 at the end. Okay, it's just an example, guys. I'm not using a calculator here. So what am I trying to emphasize by even making this for you guys is that some of the series, when you keep on adding the numbers, it doesn't imply, or it doesn't necessarily imply that the series will keep on increasing like the first one. Because remember, in the first scenario, guys, when we kept on increasing the number of terms, the sum kept on increasing. That's why we say that it's a cumulative. So it keeps on increasing, it keeps on accumulating more value. All right. But as for this one, do you see, guys, that it's not really increasing that much? It is increasing and increasing and increasing. But if you keep on adding the terms, you can see that it's like it's approaching one value. It is not really going to be so big in such a way that it will be bigger and go to infinity. No. Do you guys notice that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, for example, the sum of two terms was 0.75, right? The sum of three terms 0.8125. The sum of four terms 0.84375. It's just increasing in smaller amounts because the number is getting smaller and smaller. The number that we're adding is getting smaller and smaller. So the amount will just increase by smaller amounts. It's like at first I was giving you 1,000 rand. Tomorrow I'm giving you 500. The day after tomorrow I'm giving you 100 rand. The next day I'm giving you 50 rand. The next day I'm giving you 20. The next day I'm giving you 10. You're not going to have a lot of money because I keep on decreasing the amount that I'm adding with. Similarly here, do you see that we started with 1/2 as the initial number here, the first term, and when we did the sum, we added 1/4. 1/4 is less than 1/2, so you are adding a smaller number. And when you add the next term, you're adding 1/16. It's even smaller than 1/4. 1/32 is even smaller than 1/16. 1/64 is even smaller than 1/32. So you keep on adding a number that keeps on decreasing and decreasing. This will actually make your sum to not grow and become divergent. Because the first scenario that we had, we say that our sum is cumulative. Okay, or we say that our geometric series is divergent in the first example. We said it's divergent for the mere fact that it kept on increasing. The number that we were adding kept on increasing. So the sum also kept on increasing. But now for this one, even if we keep on adding, it will keep on increasing but slowly, and it will approach a certain value, guys. For example, this one, if you keep on adding the terms here, at first we added two terms, we got 0.75. We kept on adding. We added all the way up to 35 terms, but we got 0.99999. Which value do you think that this is approaching, guys?
1.
It is approaching 1. So it seems like our sum, it is only approaching 1. So that is known as convergence. That's why it's known as convergence. It means that the more you keep on adding the numbers, the total sum doesn't really grow outrageously or in an indefinite amount. It gets closer to a certain value. The right term that we use, we say it converges to a certain value. Yes, Sam.
So, sir, it has a formula that convergence.
Yes, we are getting to the formula. For now, I'm just shaping the concept. So here we say that our sum converges to a particular value. So it means that even if you keep on adding, adding and adding and adding, you are not really going to reach. You are not going to reach infinity. Like the first one where you say 2 plus 4, you get 6, and 6 plus 8 is 14, plus 16 is 30, plus 32 is 62, and it keeps on becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. But now here you are adding smaller amounts, so the sum doesn't really grow outrageously, but it converges to a particular value. So this term that says it converges, it simply means that our sum is approaching a certain value as we keep on adding these smaller pieces and portions. It's like you are filling a cup, guys. Have you ever done a challenge whereby you try and fill a cup and you want to see if it will overspill? Have you ever done such a challenge? Okay, maybe not. But if you take a cup and you try to fill it with water, it's only one cup, you want to fill it with water. You add a big amount at first, you add a small amount second, you keep on adding smaller amounts. The amount of water that will be in the cup, it will never be more than the size of the cup. Can you guys agree on that?
Yes.
Yes. So even if you want to add more water in the cup, you would have to add those smaller amounts. Drip, smaller drop, drip, smaller drop again, drip. Okay. So basically, whatever sum that you add to the cup, it will all be converging towards the cup size. Similarly, Lana, whatever value that you are adding to this sum, it is converging towards a certain value. Example here, this example that I did, the sum is converging to 1. We say that the sum is converging to 1. So we say this is known as a what? This is known as a geometric, it's a convergent geometric series. Okay, this is a convergent geometric series. So when you say that a geometric series converges, it simply means that as you keep on adding, it means two things, right? It means that you keep on adding smaller amounts, or the terms that you keep on adding, they become smaller and smaller. You guys must know 1/32 is smaller than 1/16. You guys must know that 1/16 is smaller than 1/4. You guys must know that 1/4 is smaller than 1/2. I'm sure you guys did that in primary school or something. But basically, the numbers that you keep on adding, they keep on decreasing. So this term converges. It means those two things. It means the terms keep on decreasing. So the terms added, the terms that you are adding, keep on decreasing. So they keep on decreasing. They keep on becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. That's the first thing. And then the second thing, it means that the sum, so if the terms keep on decreasing, the sum is actually approaching a certain value. So the sum of the total sum of the terms added approaches a particular value. It approaches a particular value. Do you guys see this? Guys, is it hard to understand? Yes. So what is now the sum to infinity? The sum to infinity formula that we use is basically trying to calculate the value to which a convergent geometric series approaches. Okay, let's just open a new slide and say, take this geometric series, the simple one, 1/2, 1/4, 1/16, 1/32, and continues and continues and continues. You add this until infinity, right? So here, this is a geometric series. You guys know how to analyze geometric series. What is the constant ratio for this geometric series? You say term 2 divided by term 1. You must get the same thing as term 3 divided by term 2. So it's more like you are saying 1/4 divided by what? Divided by 1/2. But don't use this primary school divide. So this is 1/4 divided by 1/2. What is that going to give us? 1/2, right? So basically our constant ratio there is 1/2. But please guys, if you want to put fractions on a calculator, never put a fraction divided by another fraction and you put that in a fraction. Don't do that on a calculator because you guys don't know how to do it. That's the problem. So you will end up getting weird things here and you say it's my fault. So the constant ratio here that we got is 1/2. So our constant ratio is 1/2. And now the other thing that we'll need, of course, is the first term. We know that our first term here, it is what? It is 1/2 as well. You guys see that our constant ratio and our first term, they're the same thing, it's 1/2. So we might as well just write the general and say the general pattern here. The general term is AR to the power n minus 1, and substitute the value of A, which is the first term, equal to 1/2. The value of R, which is the ratio, equal 1/2 to the power n minus 1. Never multiply these 1/2s because this is not allowed in mathematics. Do you guys all see what's happening?
Yes, sir.
All right. So now thing is, yes, Tahazo?
So, my teacher said that we can only if like the bases are the same.
If the what?
Like if the bases are the same.
Okay, if it is 1/2 and 1/2.
Yeah, and then it will be like 1/2n since like 1/2 has an exponent of 1.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's
Can
still
you just
correct.
zoom
Yeah,
out?
mathematically that's still correct. But please try your best to leave it in this way, express it in this way. Okay, yeah, mathematically, yeah,
Okay.
exponential laws allow you to multiply this because the bases and yeah, the bases are the same. Yeah, see that one. But basically, try to leave it in this way because we want to see the a, the first term. We want to see the r, which is the ratio, the constant ratio. Okay, so now guys, the thing of sum to infinity, how does it work? First of all, when you are calculating the sum to infinity, so what is the sum to infinity basically? The sum to infinity in simple term, it is the value approached by the sum. Okay, it is the value approached by the sum of a convergent series. That is the sum to infinite. So basically, the value that a convergent series approaches as we keep on adding these smaller terms, that is the sum to infinite. In our previous example, we realized that as we keep on adding and adding these terms, our sum is approaching 1 because we added up to 35 terms where we got approximately inaccurately 0.9999991. Okay, this is not I'm not using any calculator, remember. But we realize that as we keep on adding our terms, they look like they're approaching 1. Do you guys hear that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it looks like they're approaching 1. Okay, so when you guys do calculus, you guys will know, you will learn of something known as limits. So basically, you can say that the limit is 1, but don't worry, you guys will get there. But basically, here is as we increase the number of terms, the sum is approaching 1, meaning that we keep on adding smaller amounts. Remember the cup example, guys. As we keep on adding smaller droplets of water, the amount of water keeps on approaching the size of the cup, but it can never exceed the size of the cup. Similarly here, there is a certain value that the sum will approach as you keep on adding the numbers, but it will never exceed it. So let's do this for this series and try to find the sum to infinity. Okay, so the conditions, how do you prove? Let's okay, we actually say that for us to find the sum to infinity, our geometric series, it must be convergent. Okay, because if it is not convergent, guys, you cannot find the sum to infinity there because it's not converging to any value. If it's a divergent geometric series, it keeps on increasing and increasing and increasing, just like I have illustrated here. Okay, so it's divergent. You cannot do anything about it. The sum is cumulative. Okay, you can only calculate the sum of a certain finite number of terms. But when it comes to a convergent series, the sum approaches a particular value. But now, how do you prove that a series is convergent? Okay, so basically here, to prove that the geometric series is convergent, because you cannot calculate the sum to infinity if you cannot prove that a geometric series is convergent. You cannot calculate the sum to infinity. So the first thing that you need to do is to prove that indeed this geometric series converges to a certain value. How do you do that? You just look at your ratio. Your ratio must be between -1 and 1. That's your constant ratio. So the value of r for your geometric series, it must be between -1 and +1. That makes it to be convergent. That's the primary thing that you need. So whenever you want to prove that this series is convergent, or whenever you want to calculate the sum to infinity, you have to first try and find out what is the ratio a value between -1 and 1. So this means that a ratio is a value that is greater than -1 and it's a value that is less than +1. Are you guys seeing that?
Yes, sir.
Yes. For this one, guys, our ratio is 1/2. Now I want you guys to tell me, is this series convergent or not, or divergent?
It is convergent, sir.
Yes, so now you can say that this series is convergent. You've tested. Okay, this is known as a convergence test. So this series is convergent. So since this series is convergent, it means that you can calculate its sum to infinity because it adds up, or it converges, or it adds up to a particular value. Yes, Sam?
So sinayo i-divergence ku-maths
Ngubani?
khona la ku-this part i-divergence since kune-convergence.
Yeah, divergence, I'm sure it's a divergent geometric series. It diverges, like it's the one that keeps on growing.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, that's a divergent. And the convergent one, it grows towards a certain value. It adds up towards a certain value. So now you are allowed to find the sum to infinity. The formula for the sum to infinity says sum to infinity is equals to a over 1 minus r, or just 1 minus r, right? There's no to the power n there. And then this is given that -1 is less than r and r is less than +1. This condition, guys, it is telling you that for you to be able to use this formula, your geometric series must make sure that its common ratio r, it must be a value greater than -1 but less than +1. That will make it to be a convergent geometric series. Okay, so here if I want to find the sum to infinity, I'm just gonna take I will write sum and write infinity as a subscript. The first term a is still the first term, it is 1 over 2. This is over 1 minus, the ratio is 1 over 2 as well. You just solve these, guys. Of course, you guys have got calculators these days. You don't have to stress on too many things. What is 1 over 2 over 1 minus 1 over 2? You guys will get 1 as the answer. Do you guys see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So what does this sum to infinity means? It actually means that this convergent series, this convergent geometric series, if I keep on adding, its sum will be 1. If I want to sum to infinity, it means that if I keep on adding the numbers like infinitely, so I can add 1,000 numbers, 1,000,000 numbers, but the sum will never grow that much because these numbers are getting smaller and smaller and smaller with time. So basically, with each and every iteration, with each and every addition, the number is getting smaller. So essentially, my sum to infinity will be 1. So this 1 simply means that my numbers, even if I keep on adding in this geometric series or in this pattern, I will never exceed this number, which is 1. This is known as the sum to infinity. Does anyone not understand what the sum to infinity is?
Okay.
Does anyone not understand? You see it, guys. So you guys, if you are mathematics enthusiasts, I want you guys to prove to me how. Okay, you prove it on your own time if you want, Nakon. If you don't want, leave it. I'm joking. So show how the sum to infinity formula came to be. I wanna this slide in PowerPoint. What is it doing now? Okay. All right. So you guys must show me how this formula became to be the sum to infinity, which is equals to a over 1 minus r for that condition. Basically, you guys should try and derive the formula for sum to infinity. But you can always do that whenever you feel enthusiastic about education. That's when you will do it. For now, just leave it. It's not part of it's not to be examined for your grade 12. Now let's do this question, guys. A geometric series given by 1 over 3 plus 1 over 9 plus 1 over 27, right? This is a geometric series. Is this geometric series convergent? Explain. That's the first question. What are we supposed to do? Is this geometric series convergent? Explain. There are 2 questions here. You need to tell us, is it convergent If it is, you say yes. If not, you say no. Then you explain. Let's hear, guys, quick. Yes, the Hatso.
It is convergent, and I
Why?
got that by the ratio lies between -1 and 1.
Yes, whenever you want to test the convergence of a geometric series, you do what? You calculate the common ratio. The common ratio, remember, is term 2 over term 1, or alternatively, you can just say term Tn plus 1 over Tn. Okay, but don't complicate your life for now. You guys are still young, I know. So this is term 2 over term 1. The term 2 there is 1 over 9. Divided by term 1 is 1 over 3. So 1 over 9 over 1 over 3, what's that going to give you? It's going to give you something like what? 3 over 9, which is going to be 1 over 3 as well, is it?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So our ratio here, our common ratio is 1 over 3. So once you calculate the ratio, this is you explaining that this is convergent. You don't have to explain in words. So you can say, therefore, this is convergent. This is convergent. So this is okay, it's fine. You may talk in English. You guys know English, yes. But what's most important is for you to do what? Is for you to do the mathematical calculation of the ratio. Do not just write a statement in English and you'll be like, the series is convergent because the ratio is between -1 and 1. Calculate the ratio so that you can see it. Then we can deduce that this ratio is indeed between -1 and what? And 1. So 1 over 3 is between -1 and 1. So our ratio falls between the range of a geometric convergent series as 1. Okay? Alright, so now let's express this geometric series now in a sigma notation. You guys now know sigma notation from the arithmetic one. So this is your sigma notation. What are you supposed to write here, guys, in a sigma notation, Gambe?
The general formula.
Yes, the general formula Tn. Okay, so in essential here you have to calculate the general formula, but it's way easier because remember that Tn for a geometric series is given by, for a geometric sequence, is ar to the power n minus 1. So essentially Tn, you substitute the value of the first term. In this case it is given to be 1 over 3, so I'm just going to say this is 1 over 3, and then times r. The constant ratio that we have is still 1 over 3 to the power of n minus 1. So you are allowed to put 1 over 3 to the power of n as the final thing, but you can just put it in this way for you to be more specific. 1 over 3 times 1 over 3 to the power of n minus 1. But you can say this is 1 over 3 to the power of n if you simplify this, because these are two bases and they look alike. So you are done with your Tn. What about the initialization point? This at the bottom, let me not use bad terms, at the bottom of this sigma, what should I write?
In the bottom, sir. The
yes.
n.
Yes, the n is equals to what?
1.
N is equals to 1, yes, because immediately when you want to add or iterate through our geometric series, we are going to start by adding the 1 over 3, which is the term on position 1 or term number 1. And then what is going to be on top of my geometric series in this case?
Infinity, sir.
Infinity, because remember, guys, that this is a convergent. Since it's a convergent geometric series, we definitely know how to express its sum to infinity. We know that its sum is not going to continue growing indefinitely. It is actually going to sum up to infinity to give us a particular value. All right. So you will be given marks for expressing all of this, and I'll confirm for you if you really need to calculate the sum, but basically what you have here is an expression using the sigma notation of a geometric series. So we are going for another 10 minutes break. I think it's going to be the last one. When we come back, we are doing high order questions only. And I'm going to even separate the videos as high order questions only. These are just for you guys to get into the heat. So after 10 minutes, we're coming back. Okay. Hey Lapo, I know that you've been enjoying this wonderful video and most likely you've been enjoying watching this handsome face in front of you, but sorry ladies, I'm taken. I just here to tell you that Educate is on the road to 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. So please click the subscribe button and click the notification bell so that you get notifications whenever I post new videos. I want you guys to pass. Okay, so if you make my dream true, I reach 100k subscribers, I will make your dreams come true. I will even get you to varsity. I will get you with 7 distinctions. Yes. Yeah, now we are going to real geometric series problems as well as anything that has got a sigma notation as well about geometric series. So we'll just be quick guys and look over this question. So here we are given a geometric sequence, right? Just a sequence of numbers starting with 9/2 followed by 9 followed by 18, and then the last term is 2304. You guys all notice that this one 9/2, 9, 18, 2304. And then now the question is number 1, 3.1.1. Determine the value of R, the common ratio. They even told you that is a common ratio. How can you find the value of R then?
You can say 9 divided by 9/2.
Yes, you can just say 9 divided by 9/2, which is term 2 divided by term 1. So this is like 9 divided by 9/2, which will give you what?
2, sir.
Which will give you 2. So the ratio there will be equals to 2. You can find the ratio by also using 18 divided by 9. Just say term 3 divided by term 2. Okay. All right. So now 3.1.2. 3.1.2 now says, does this sequence converge? That's the first question. Does this sequence converge? Question mark. Motivate your answer. Let's see. Look at the sequence carefully. Okay, so Sam says no, it doesn't converge. Does anyone say that it converges, guys?
No.
Okay, why would you dispute? What reason would you dispute that this doesn't converge?
Because R is greater than 1.
Okay, let's start with Khalifelo.
Yes, I was going to say the same thing.
Who say what thing?
R is greater than 1.
Yes, R is greater than 1. So if the ratio is greater than 1, it cannot fall under the convergence series. Because remember guys that for it to be convergent, the value of R, it must be between -1 and +1. So if you find any ratio to be greater or less than the range provided, automatically it's not a convergent series, it's a divergent one. Okay, I think that's pretty much clear. There's nothing much. And you guys can also see that the number that you are adding here, it keeps on getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, like we started with 9/2, then we went to 9, then we went to 18, then we went to 2304. So do you see that we keep on adding bigger numbers, or our terms keep on increasing in magnitude? So essentially the series will be, the sum will keep on growing. It will be a divergent one. Okay, let's see 3.1.3. How many terms are there in the sequence? How can you find the number of terms in the sequence? How many terms? Yes, Tahazo.
So we first have to find the general formula for this.
Yes, Tn is ARn to the power and AR to the power of n minus 1. Then you substitute into it. You guys can see that the value of A is definitely known. It is 9/2. And then the value of R, it is what? It is 2 to the power of n minus 1. And then what do we do with the general formula?
We can therefore say the general formula equals to the last term that we have there, which is 2304.
So we just equate the general formula to the last term, because remember the general formula is just the formula for any term found. So it can be also the formula for the last term that is found in our geometric series sequence. So we're gonna say where there is Tn, we're gonna substitute 2000 304 is equals to 9 over 2 times 2 to the power of n minus 1. Please guys, don't make mistakes when you're doing the algebra here. You can't multiply 9 over 2 and 2 for the mere fact that these two are different bases. Okay, so what can you do to solve for n at this point?
I think we must simplify.
How can we?
Divide them.
Divide
n
by what?
minus 1.
Yes, so
Like 2 to the power n minus 1.
okay, what can we do to it?
Simplify it. It's going to be 2n multiplied by 1 over 2.
2 to the power n multiplied by what?
1 over 2.
By 1 over 2.
Yes, sir.
That's one way of doing maths. Okay, I support it. I want it to still give me the same value as this one.
Then we are going to multiply 9 over 2 by 1 over 2.
Okay, gonna multiply 9 over 2 plus 1 times 1 over 2.
Yes, sir.
But now, okay, it's fine. You can still do the method. But now, okay, let's look for the simplest method at least. Because, okay, this one I still see. You can still get to the right answer, considering that you do the right algebra. What's another simpler method that you can use to solve n SEM?
Well said. Divide by 9 over 2.
Yes, we can divide both sides by 9 over 2, guys. If we divide both sides by 9 over 2, it will cancel. Okay. Or you can say you can multiply by 2 over 9 on both sides. You guys know all those mathematical laws. You can't be in grade 12 and not know them. So automatically 2304 divided by 9 over 2, what do we get?
512.
512 is equals to 2 to the power of n minus 1. So what? How do we solve this?
Logarithm, sir.
I was waiting for someone to say logarithm. So you can use a logarithm, but what is the other way, guys? Okay, if you're in a grade 11 learner without a knowledge of a logarithmic function, what would you do?
We make the same basis.
Yes, we make them to have the same base. So this 512, we need to express it in such a using base 2. You guys can just use a calculator. You write 512 on your calculator, then you say equals to. You just say 512, you type 512, then you press equal to, then you press shift, then you press fact. Yeah, those commands will give you a better way of expressing this 512. So 512 is 2 to the power what?
It is 2 to 9.
9, sir.
Yeah, 2 to the power of 9 is equals to 2 to the power of n minus 1. And now when you are now equating a powers of the same base here, you can just drop down these bases, of course, then only, or you can drop down the exponents, meaning that you're just going to equate the exponent 9 to n minus 1. So you can just come here and say that your 9 is equals to n minus 1. Therefore, this already implies that n is equals to 10. So you can say that there are 10 terms. And then 3.1.4 to close our simple questions. Criteria, what is 3.1.4? Determine the sum of the first 10 terms of the sequence. How can we get the sum of the first 10 terms?
Because our R is greater, we use A open bracket
Yes.
R minus 1
R to the power n minus 1. Yes.
minus 1
Yeah.
over R minus 1.
Exactly. So this is going to give us our Sn is equals to A is just the first term, guys. You already see that is 9 over 2. There you substitute it. And then the value of the ratio R, we already know that is 2. And then now our n, what is our n, guys, here? We're looking for the sum of how many terms?
Good
10.
answer.
10. So value our n is supposed to be 10. So this is 2 to the power of 10. Then that's going to give you minus 1. Then this is over. Where there is r, you put 2 as well. 2 minus 1. What is the sum of the first 10 terms?
4,000.
3,5.
4,000 what?
603,3,
3.
5, sir.
Comma 5.
5.
Okay. All right. So this is a 4,603.5. Okay. Simple one, right?
Yes.
All right. What about this one? Let's go. Given this series, I'll just rewrite this series and say that the first term of the series is x. The second term is x squared over 2. The third term of the series is x cubed over 4. And then you keep on adding them. Oh, this is actually series, so you should add them. You should put the plus signs in between. So you are adding these. You keep on adding them. You keep on adding them continuously. Now 2.2.1, guys, may I please ask what series is this? What series do you think this is? What type of series do you think this is?
Geometric, sir.
It's geometric. Okay, we'll try to prove that. Determine the nth term in terms of x. What is the nth term? How can we attempt solving this? Or what even convinced you that this is a geometric series?
In constant ratio.
Constant ratio. Yes, you can just find the ratio, guys, and say the ratio there. You can find it by saying term 2 divided by term 1. And in this case, you can see that your term 2 here, it is x squared over 2. So this is x squared over 2 divided by term 1, which is x. Let me just write it like this so that you guys don't get confused. And when I'm dividing, I can just say times 1 over x. You guys know how to reciprocate, right? So this is times 1 over x. And from here, you guys can see that this is a multiplication symbol. So I can just say x into x is 1. Then x into x squared will give me x. So my ratio in terms of x there will be x over 2. Do you guys see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, even if you do the ratio using term 3 divided by term 2, you must get the same thing. So if you say this term, which is x cubed over 4 divided by x squared over 4, you must still be able to get x over 2 for it to be qualified as a geometric. But you guys seem like you've already done that. So we have our constant ratio. Now our first term, what is our first term, guys, here?
X.
X. So x is our first term. So x is our first term. So having x as our first term, you can just find our general term or the nth term. It's more like the nth term is Tn is given by a r to the power of n minus 1, because this is geometric. And then you substitute the value of a, which is the first term. It seems to be x. Then the second term, and the ratio a common ratio, it's x over 2 to the power of n minus 1. So this is Tn in terms of x. When they say that in terms of x, it simply means that your final answer is not really a value. It's not really a number. It is expressed in terms of x. There's the variable x in it in some way. So in this case, you can say that our Tn is somehow having the variable x, ain't it? Yes, the Hatso.
Say, you know what I did, ne? I want to know if it's wrong. You see, like, in terms of x, when we move to the next term, like the powers are just 1, 2, 3 power.
Yes.
So I said, my nth term is x to the power of n.
Just that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good and creative, but how do you account for this decimal pass?
Yes, I just realized or I separated them. I only
Yeah.
did the
You
top
only,
part.
yeah, you only worked on the numerator. That's a good strategy. You should do maths in university. When that is where you should go. Something that is maths. That's a good way of strategizing and seeing things. And yeah, but you only did it for the numerator. If you had done it for the denominator as well, it would have worked. But for the denominator, you would still be able to do it. Yeah, you would
Okay,
still be able to do it. Yeah, but nonetheless, let's continue. Determine the values of x for which the series will converge. This is the major question that I want. What are those values of x? When they say values in our curriculum, they are referring to numbers, actual numbers. So these are the values for which this series will converge. So what are we trying to do here, guys?
Substitute the ratio negative. One must be good conversions, man.
Yes, guys, when they say that there's a convergence, we definitely know that it is whenever they told us that this series is converging, we already know that the condition of R, it must be R is greater than -1 and R is less than +1. So this actually defines what a convergent geometric series is. Okay, so now you just substitute your ratio R to be able to solve for x if this is a convergent. So this is -1 is less than x over 2, which is less than 1. And you guys know how to solve inequalities, of course. You multiply the entire thing by 2 so that we make our problem linear. We don't want this 2 to be in the denominator. If we multiply the entire thing by 2, this will be -2 is less than x and x is less than +2. Do you guys see the two values?
Yes.
Yes. So these are the values of x for which this series will converge. X must be a number between -2 and 2. So if x is any number that is not -2 and 2, that is not between njalo, that is not between -2 and 2, then our ratio will definitely not fall in that range, eventually meaning that this will not be able to converge. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now 6 marks.
Number 3.
Okay, let's see if I have enough space here. Cool. I will open new space for it because it's needed. Now, question is, if the sum of the first two terms is equal to 5/8 and x is a number greater than 0, determine the sum to infinity. If the sum of the first two terms is equal to 5/8 and x is a number greater than 0, it means it's a positive number, determine the sum to infinity. What's your approach? You need time to think about it. If the sum of the first two terms is equal to 5/8 and x is greater than 0, determine our sum to infinity. Anyone with an idea? Yes, Sam?
But I think you are going to use the formula Kalaga SN.
SN.
Open bracket.
SN. Okay, let me just write it out. Oh, the first one, the first sum formula, right? SN.
Yes. Equals to A open bracket R and
this one
-1 is
okay.
over R
-1. Okay, that's something. that's a formula. Yes.
Therefore, after say, Timbo,
what can we do?
Substitute the R way to sir.
Sizayimela le mess ezobalana. I will going to stand. I will going to stand for this mess that will be here. Can you guys
I
stand for
think it
them?
is.
Okay, but we can attempt. We can always attempt, guys. But we're going to have two unknowns there, Sam. Oh yeah, but if you use the sum of two terms, yeah, you can still do it. But you must be good with algebra, because manipulating those brackets will be one thing. Okay, so you say we substitute and say that, I'm sure we are given that the sum of the two terms, the first two terms, is 5/8, right?
Yes, sir.
So where there is Sn, I can just write 5/8 for the sum, and then say equal to A is the first term is X, and then the ratio R, we already said, what did we find, younger? X/2, right? So this is X/2
Yes, sir.
to the power of what? What is the
So,
value
sir,
of
do you
n?
mind if I take
Yes.
10, sir?
What is the
N
value?
is 10. I was saying
2.
2, right? Is it? Do we get why n is 2, guys?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Yes, because we have the sum of the first two terms. So this is X/2 squared. Then this is -1 over here where there is R, we can just put X/2 again. Oh, there is no n here in the denominator, of course. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
X/2, it's just X/2 minus 1. Okay, cool this. So what? You guys need to solve for x from here. And if you solve for x, you can find the ratio and eventually find the first term and find the sum to infinity. Yeah, cool. Guys, can you do the algebra here? What is the best way of doing the algebra here?
So I was thinking isikwet leya sisikhathe sihle sisuse siqede ngaso.
Dini?
Like we do that part x over 2 squared. City x squared over 4.
Okay, but okay, let's just try to make a problem here to be a straight line, because it's a bit so it will be a bit confusing as a fraction for some people. We can cross multiply, guys. There's an equal sign there. You're allowed to cross multiply and say this is 5 into X/2 minus 1 is equals to 8x into Sam is saying that we should just remove the inner brackets by distributing this squared. So this squared here, we can distribute it as Sam says. So this is going to give us x squared over 4. Do you guys see that? Minus 1. Are you guys all able to see?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then you just distribute the 5 on this side. You distribute the 5 into the bracket, guys. Now that's your grade 8 maths. Now it's way simpler to do. This will give you 5x over 2 minus 1 is equals to what? What is going to be 8x times this?
Minus 1.
Oh, minus 5, yes.
Minus 4.
Yes, 5x, yeah, over 2 minus 5. And then if you distribute this 8x into x squared over 4, what are we going to get?
8x cube.
We're going to get 2x cubed, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, then it is minus 1. Then, of course, here, guys, you just need to do your maths, your basic maths.
Minus 8.
Oh, my minus
Minus
8x.
8x.
Hey, I'm forgetting to distribute. What's wrong with me? Okay, guys, let's do the basic maths here. This is minus 8x. Let's do the basic maths here of solving for x. What can we do?
Transpose
We multiply by
minus 5x.
We can transpose this.
Transpose minus 5.
Okay, transpose minus 5 to the other side.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we'll remain with what? 5x over 2 is equals to what? 2x cubed minus 8x plus 5, is it?
Yes, sir.
Then how do we
Cross
solve?
multiply.
Then cross multiply.
Cross
How could
multiply.
we could have just multiplied by 2 in the entire equation to make it simpler, because I don't have space here. We can just multiply by 2 in the entire equation so that so that we can get rid of this 2 in the denominator. So this will give us 5x minus 10 is equals to 4x cubed minus 16x. Do you guys see that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and then you solve for x. You now just use your basic laws. Think you've got you can just take the x variables to one side, whatever that you guys do. You can say this is 5x minus 4x cubed plus 16x is equals to positive 10. So if we transpose this positive 4x cubed on the other side, we transpose this negative 16x on the other side, this will definitely give us what? It will give us 5x minus 4x cubed plus 16x. And we notice that 5x and 16x are like terms. So 5x plus 5 plus 16 will definitely give us what? 21, right?
21.
Yes, so it means that I can just say here, from here I've got 21x and then minus 4x cubed is equals to 10. And how can I solve for x from here?
Factorize, sir.
Factorize. So if I take out x here as the common factor, I would have 21 minus what? Minus 4x squared is equals to 10. So, oh no. Can you factorize from here, guys? Is it allowed? Can we?
No, sir. It must be 0, sir.
Yeah, there's no 0 on the other side.
Yes, sir.
What's your other mathematical strategy to solve for x? What's your strategy to solve for x, guys? You guys do algebra at school.
Difference of 2 cubes.
Difference of 2 cubes. Which 2
But
cubes?
it's not.
There's no 2 cubes though. That's the bit of a problem. How can
Yes.
such a cubic such a cubic thingy? Okay, guys, keep on thinking. But here, the only thing that I think of using synthetic division. Okay, yes.
Oh, yeah, long division, sir, or quadratic, but yeah, or K method. I don't know, sir.
Okay, K method, it won't work per se because you're just replacing x with most probably not going to work. The K method, I suspect it won't work.
What about the factorizing for, like, example, quadratic, but at the same time?
Okay, can you try solving it? Yes. What can I say?
Sir, long division, sir.
Do you guys have time to do long division? Okay, I will teach you. Okay, but no, I cannot teach you synthetic division now. It's too early in the year. Okay, it's fine. So here, let's just say hold it in. Yeah.
Sir,
Yes.
what about maybe we do
We
transpose the 10 law similar?
We transpose the 10. Yes. Yes.
Therefore, after we therefore we manipulate siyenza 2 squares.
Can this ever be 2 squares when I've got a cube there?
No,
Check,
sir.
sir, what I'm going to do. I was going to say open bracket 2,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
close bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, after it's 4x squared plus 8x.
Should I open
5.
should I open another bracket from here?
So, like 2, I need to take open bracket x minus 2.
X minus 2. Okay, so
Yes, sir.
so it's x minus 2 and then
Open bracket. After you say 4x squared
4x squared
plus 8x.
plus 8x.
Minus
Yeah.
5
Yeah,
equals
it is the correct one. That's the correct one. But we would have done it better using synthetic division by finding a factor first, but nonetheless this is correct. So essentially you have got two values there. So x is equals to positive 2 or x is equals to something else. Here if you solve for x, you are going to find how many. Since this is a quadratic, you're going to find x is equals to 1 over 2, or you're also going to find x is equals to negative 5 over 2 if you solve this a quadratic part. Yeah, but that's just going to be your algebra, guys. That's just going to be your algebra. You can be able to do it. Okay, but these are the solutions that we have. But which one of these solutions are correct? Which ones are we going to proceed and use to calculate our thingy? Which one? Which one?
Statement statement x may be greater than 0. Therefore, yes, and therefore we'll take 2 as our own x.
So we can take 2, but 1 over 2 is also 1 over 2 is also greater than 0. Which one can we take? Why should we take 2?
Because it's more bigger than 1 over 2, sir.
Really? Why should we take? It's more bigger than 0. Remember, guys, that our ratio r, it was equals to x over 2. So our ratio was x over 2 before we even knew what is x. But now we have got two values of x. Which one will work between 2 and 1 over 2? One of them has to be thrown off for a valid reason, though.
Oh, so 1 over 2.
Yeah, 1 over 2 is the correct value. 2 cannot work. Why can you not use 2?
Firstly, it's not a fraction, therefore our r will be a fraction, sir.
Yes, if we're gonna here where there is x, if we're gonna substitute 2, this is gonna be 2 over 2, and this is gonna give us 1. And the ratio which is equals to 1 will actually be like opposite to this statement that says this series is converging. Okay, that's the valid reason. Yeah, so the value for this series to converge, our ratio, no matter what value of x that we get, our ratio must never fall out of the range of convergence, which is that our ratio must be between -1 and 1. So here, if you substitute the ratio whereby x is equals to 2, your ratio is going to be 1, and that cannot work, because the ratio must be greater than -1, but it must be less than +1. Do you guys see that there?
Yes.
Yes. So here our only x value that's correct is r. Our only x value that is correct is 1 over 2. So here, if we substitute back to our ratio, because we are looking for the sum to infinity. Remember, sum to infinity formula, it requires you to have the first term. It requires you to have the 1 minus the ratio. The ratio there is going to be what? The ratio is going to be, remember that our ratio that we got in terms of x, it was x over 2. The one that we got on 2.2.1. But now, instead of x over 2, I'm going to say 1 over 2 over 2. I'm now substituting where there was x. So where there was x in the previous formula, I'm substituting the value of x 1 over 2. What ratio are we going to get from here? It's 1 over 4. And then the first term, which is x. In this case, the first term, you can see, guys, that here they wrote x. What is going to be the first term, which is the value of a?
1 over 2, sir.
It's going to be 1 over 2 because the first term, it is x, which is what we have solved here. And then you therefore proceed and say the sum to infinity is equals to a is the first term, it's 1 over 2, over 1 minus the ratio is 1 over 4. Put this on the calculator and tell me what you get. 1 over 2 over 3 over 4. What is the sum to infinity?
3 over 2, sir.
3 over 2. So that's something 2 over 3. So in decimal format, remember that our answers must be in 2 decimal places. Give me the decimal equivalent of that.
0.6667.
Okay, 0.6 recurring. It's fine. So this is our sum to infinity. Another way, guys, but excellent, guys, for this is wonderful mathematics that you guys did there. Thank you, Sam, for the idea. Another thing that you would have done, guys, from this statement, it says that the sum of the first two terms is 5/8. You can make an expression from this, guys. I thought that you're gonna use a simpler method, but it seems like you guys are geniuses. Okay, the sum of the first two terms, you have the first two terms. The first term is like x, right? That's the first term. The second term is x squared over 2. So the sum of these terms is equals to what? To 5/8. You can simply solve for x from this. Do you see that, guys?
Yeah, some of us will use that one.
Oh yeah, some of you guys use this one. So there are many ways to kill a cat. So in this way, you can still use that one. Yes, Sam?
So say you took those first two as John statement says she with your first two terms.
Yes, literally first two terms.
Okay, so
Yeah. So I don't know, guys. Do you wanna come back again? We are going for another. Okay, we'll come back for the last time. I promise, guys. I promise for the last time.